let me just ask, are there any questions that have come up that you guys would like to ask? I feel like I'm on target because I'm answering the questions that you guys gave me, but yeah, Justin, go ahead.
Yeah, just along the thought of mentoring, if we have time, there are only a few programs that are out there, that really provide specific commercial real estate mentoring. I definitely want to hear from you what you're thinking, what you will do that they don't, why one deal more, and which I'm, just got the email, so I know it's a new program, but what are they missing that you will provide? Not to speak bad about them, but you're doing something new for a reason. So if there's time, I'd just love to hear what kind of TLC will come through, to use your phrase.
Thank you, Eric, for that thumbs up. Sure, I'd be happy to address that. The commercial real estate industry is tricky. And by the way, if you haven't read Thrive, you can get it in different formats. But the reason I mention it is because in the introduction to Thrive, I explain how little coaching and mentoring there really is in the industry. And my final sentence in the introduction to Thrive is, I wrote this book to try to help with, I think, the things that you're going to encounter. And the last sentence is something like, so please let me be your sales manager and let's go read these chapters together. Now, when I say sales manager, what I have a traditional view of that, which is, again, I was in a company that had a former salesperson who had left the cubes, moved into an office, and was responsible for training salespeople, and was rewarded for the group performance of the people that he was coaching. He was responsible for. So the kind of tough part of our industry is it's a relatively low barrier to entry. To be blunt, anyone who goes out and gets a real estate license, which isn't all that difficult to do, can say, yes, I'm in commercial real estate. And then you kind of look around and it's like, is there anybody here? Hello, where do I get my training? How do I make progress? So there have been really three tranches of how you solve that problem. The first is what I would call industry education. You can take CCIM courses, you can get an MSRE, you can find various academy-like training programs. I have an MSRE, and of course you get smarter about commercial real estate, but not any street smarter. There's no, all those professors are all PhDs and they'll teach you, the bond ratings for real estate stock. So that's sort of tranche one. Tranche two is what I would call group training. There are some speakers out there that deliver presentations to groups at a time. And so they have one big bundle of information and it's generic to the whole group. It's usually a best practice and that can be somewhat valuable. Then at the third tier, there's coaching. And that's what I spend most of my time doing, is working with single entities, a certain player or a group of players together and work with them. It's a little challenging for me because it's not scalable. I work with one team at a time. The Massimo Group, as an example, has, I think, 30 coaches, and you can sign up to be in their program where you have 2 calls per month with your coach, and the coach is an experienced player, and it's sort of a combination of best practices and accountability, and it's very powerful, but it can be expensive. I mean, not everybody can afford that, and especially not people at the front side. So recently I announced that I was forming a program called One More Deal. The idea is, what would you be willing to invest in order to make one more deal? And when it's all said and done, it launches March 15th, 2021. It will be a subscription-based program so that you can choose how much you want to pay per month and what content you'll have access to. No one likes me to say this, but it's kind of a Netflix approach. There'll be a body of content, and depending on what you pay, you'll be able to access that. And that is not only recorded sessions, but also role plays, discussion boards. There'll be interviews with people so that as you subscribe, you pay a comparatively, a very low amount compared to one-on-one coaching. And you're able to do this, and we'll continue to add to that library. And to be honest, the point of me doing that is to try to make coaching available to the much closer to the starting line. In other words, if you have $2,000 a month and you can afford coaching, great. You got to have $20,000 a year that you're willing to invest in coaching. And it's very effective. But if you don't have that, there's not that many options. So that's the challenge of One More Deal, and we're in the process of pulling that off. And again, if you're not linked in with me, but will link in with me, then you'll see that you can. There's a link there. You can click on it. You can learn about it, and there'll be a lot more of this kind of information coming. Frankly, this Ask Me Anything webinar will be a staple of being subscribed. This is a test run to see how this Ask Me Anything works, so that if you were a member, you would be invited to this and you could routinely participate in these things. So thank you for that little commercial there. I'll send you $5, just like we talked about.